guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is the Empress Show. As usual, this is your Wonder Woman Julie, or if you like, you can call me Jules. With me here is an amazing lady. For those of you who watched the last video, I think you can remember her. She has an amazing story, she has an inspiring one, and I am inspired, guys. If you're not, you need to listen to what she is saying over and over again. So, without further ado, let us welcome her, and she will tell us from where we left it from. Yeah? So, karibu sana, and asante sana for availing yourself once again. So, tell us, we left it at a point where you now had a long distance relationship.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Well, I had gotten to a point in my life where I felt like, one, I was ready for a relationship. And two, it was just those seasons where you're like, yo, minataka mtu. And I just want to put it out there for young girls who are Christians. You will get to this point in life, but it's how you respond to these feelings, you respond to these yearnings.
Yeah,
that's
the
what is
urge.
critical. It's not just say that I'm a Christian so I cannot feel these things anymore. You're not a stone. You're still human, you still feel things, and you still have these expectations. So don't be hard on yourself. And for me, because I got into that place, but mine was not healthy. Mine was desperation for a relationship, and now I'll tell you where it took me.
Okay.
So at this point, like I said, I was in another country, and I met somebody there. I actually met him for a week. I will not dilute this message. I met him for 1 week. We hit it off. I was like, yeah. When I was leaving, honestly, I thought, Julie, there's nothing that's going to materialize from it. I came back to Kenya, guys, like, I want to get into a relationship with you. And remember, I'm in a place where I'm desperate.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this must be
God.
Who else can it be?
It has to be God.
It has to be God. And disclaimer, he's not born again, but that was not ringing in my mind. Because at that point, I was like, yes. But you see, that's the thing. It's the desire, the desperate desire to be in a relationship that said yes. And also, I took that desire and bandika God's name on it.
Yeah.
So I get into this relationship and I say, in fact, there's a part I didn't tell you. When he asked me, I said, you know what, I'm a Christian, so I need to go fast. I need to go fast and hear from God that I should enter this relationship.
Yeah.
Julie, Keta alipack bags, Nyeri, kwenda kufast kwa shosho. Do you even think I was listening to God? The first thing all I heard is abstain. Did I wait to hear what God was saying about abstaining? Abstaining could mean many things. It could be abstaining from the relationship itself, but I did not wait. I was like, God, I'm in a long distance relationship. This is easy.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. I called him and I was like, yeah, God said we can get into a relationship.
Wow.
And again, before I move on, disclaimer, guys, be very, very careful about where you put the name God. Yeah. Don't just take your feelings and bandika God's name next to it. That's very dangerous because you'll start convincing yourself things and get into something that is not of God. Okay. So I get into this relationship, Julie, and this guy tells me at some point, you know what, in my family, we've been raised a certain way. We've been raised in a way that we should not even be dating girls before we've met their parents. I'm like, yo, guy, I'm here, you're in another country. How's this gonna work? This guy booked a ticket. And so we got together in December. January, he's booking a ticket. April, he's here. April, he's landing in JKIA. Have you guys seen those videos of people doing long distance relationships on YouTube? I was that girl waiting at JKIA with butterflies. 3 a.m.
Oh my.
I dragged 2 of my friends at 3 a.m. to meet a guy I've never met, to enter another train to go to Coast with him. At this point, he has not even met my parents. We went to Coast. Remember, we're abstaining and we've gone to Coast alone. Guys, please don't try this at home. Don't try these things. We went. He was stronger than I was. And I want to really be truthful. I'm the one who wanted the guy. But he was stronger than me. So he'd be like, no. We came back home. He met my parents, met my friends. Great guy. He was loved by everyone. He left. He went back to his country. 3 months into it, actually 2 months into it, I felt to break up with him, and it was a leading of God. All my friends were telling me, "This is not it. Don't do it." But remember, I'm desperate, and he's feeding that desperation. And so I broke up with him in June. I couldn't handle it. I went back with him. August, I'm in his country to meet his family. Now, this is where the story went. This guy is German. Okay, this guy is German. He was living in the Netherlands. So we went to Germany to meet his friends and his family. Now that is where everything went wrong, completely wrong.
Okay.
I went there, and long distance doesn't show you who people truly are.
Okay.
The phone, you can only communicate so much, but when someone is in their home environment, you're able to see their character, you're able to see their triggers. And so he had problems with anger.
Okay.
And so on one of the nights, we were in his friend's house, and he had not processed the breakup.
Okay.
And he had a lot of stuff in him, and so he exploded on me. And it was really, really bad. I was scared for my life. It was not a good scene. Basically, I was really, really scared. We solved it, yes, but I finally saw the things you don't see in a long distance relationship. And I finally saw why God wanted me not to enter that relationship, and why God wanted me to leave that relationship even before. And there's this verse in the book of Corinthians that says, "Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers." What that means is you cannot have any agreement. Me, I'm going this way. I want God. Him is still in the world. There's still a certain way he looks at life. And so the other thing is I ended up compromising. I was drinking again. When I went there in August, we had sex. We couldn't do it anymore. And so it led me to a place where, one, I felt unsafe. And two, I had compromised on my faith. I was no longer myself. I'd lost who I was. And three, when I came back to Kenya, I was not the same person. I was broken. I had to go through counseling. It was costly. Let me use that word. It cost me. This relationship cost me a lot. So I would not advise people to get into unequally yoked relationships just because there cannot be agreement. You've been translated from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light. Your spirit has been made new. That person's spirit is still in a fallen state. Yours is on the other side, And so what agreement can there be between that? There is no agreement. And something that I just want to touch on, he did go to church. He did go to church, but he was going for the wrong reasons. He was going so that it's like, oh, he was doing it for me. He entered a church. He was in small groups, and I believe that experience did change him in one way or another. But it was not for the right reasons. So that's my story of the long distance relationship, and it did a number on my faith.
Wow. And you've said it so well that it is not right for a Christian to get into a relationship with a non-believer, and I believe that is right because someone who is on top can easily be pulled down, rather than the person on top pulling the person who is down.
Right.
So if you guys can relate to this story, what is your story? Like, being a Christian is not an easy thing. It's not as easy as being that's what I'll call it, an unbeliever. And sometimes you might find yourself calling yourself a believer and you're doing all these other things. Kate has told us so clearly that, you know what, you are not a Christian for the right reason. So find your purpose in Christianity. Find your purpose in being a believer, because you cannot just be a believer without knowing what your vision, what your purpose is in Christianity. So I don't know what you can advise other young ladies out there, ladies who are struggling, with life, not knowing what to do next. Some are born again, some are not born again. Some are, at this particular season in our lives, unapata watu wengi, wasichana wengi, they are opting the side of kupata sponsor. Mbabas, that's what we are calling them.
Yeah.
But mbabas, for the sake of money, fitting. You've mentioned something to do with fitting in. So they want to fit in a certain way, in certain lifestyles. What can you tell them?
I think when I think about girls who are in that situation, the one thing I'd like to tell you is, first of all, we are all, sometimes we find ourselves in the situation that you are in. So it's okay to be where you are right now, but it's about how you respond to it. If you are feeling desperate about the situation you're in, you're seeing your friends work on a sponsor, and they look like they are well off. They're like, hey, I'm Christian, I'm keeping my values, and nothing is happening. I'm not getting married, there's no money, but the other side looks brighter. It looks like
it's working for them.
It's working for them.
Yeah.
And for you, because God takes us from these spaces, so we already know what it is. So when you go back there, it's already a familiar space, For me, I'd like to just ask you to look back at my story and see the consequences. I have paid a lot. Let me tell you, before I got back up into having a relationship with God again, it was long journey. Because, like you said, me in Oko, and a fall hurts. Before you've learned how to stand again, you've blamed your world. And if you've tasted God, you know, if you've tasted God, it costs too much. The other thing, community. Community. Don't walk alone. One of the things that has helped me personally is surrounding myself with a community of Christian women who will speak life back into me. So if I'm having like a crisis, if I'm struggling, for example, like I really struggled with pornography and masturbation, and this is something I share very openly as well. And so when those urges come, because I'm human, I have people to call. I'll be like, yo, it's hot, and I'll talk through it with somebody. So find a group of Christian women. For me, it started with an older woman, because she would rebuke me. She will not be afraid to tell me what is wrong. And then I started praying that God will bring me women who will also do that, but who are my age, who can relate. So that's the other thing, community. And 3 is just remind yourself what God sent his son here to do. He did not send his son here so that we can be comfortable. Even Jesus says, you will go through troubles, but my peace I have left you. So go back to the secret place, and the secret place looks like just seeking God and telling him, you know what, God, your side doesn't look so pretty. Imagine me, I'm raw with God like that. If you can't be vulnerable and real with God, with how you're feeling, the enemy will capitalize on what you're feeling, and then he'll now take you to the other side. But for me, when I feel low, when I feel like God is not there, when I feel like he's not present, I always remember the story of Jesus in Mount Gethsemane. He did not pretend that he was not sorrowful. He did not pretend like he doesn't want that cup. He was like, if this cup can just be taken away from me. And even in the book of John, when Lazarus, he cried, which means Jesus shows us that we also need to be present with our emotions. We need to be present and real before the presence of God on how we feel. If you feel like God has betrayed, if you feel God has left you, my friend, go and tell him, I feel left. I feel like you've forsaken me. And then you can start with God from there. So that's one of the things that has helped me, is being real with God. So as a young lady, those are the things that I would tell you. And lastly, please put boundaries for yourself. Don't let circumstances choose your friends or choose even your partner. Create boundaries, principles, and values for yourself, and base them, please, 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 on God's standards, not on the standards of the world, because you'll end up in the world again. So I've said many things, but I'm hoping that between the things that I've shared just now, that a young lady somewhere will have picked something. But for me, one thing that I just feel so strongly in my spirit to say is, be real with God. Be open with God. Go tell him, go cry. you know, it's just between you and your Father.
Yeah.
He says he cares for you.
Yeah.
And for some, it's hard to believe, especially if you're in a circumstance that just says the opposite.
Yeah.
Just go and tell him,
True.
and then start from there with God.
Wow.
Yes.
What an inspiration. You've said you are on Instagram. You do some stuff on Instagram.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us your Instagram handle and maybe any other social media page that you have and what you do probably. Yeah.
Okay. So very early on in 2017, I said that I had like a fire burning within me.
Yeah.
And Julie, I found myself preaching to my walls. God is like, we're not preaching to walls. Walls don't need to be saved.
Yeah.
So I started with a YouTube channel, and then the YouTube channel evolved. It was called The Lord's Way Online then. Right now it has changed by the leading of God. It's called Mamre Ministry. And now I just share the word of God. In that page, when you go to the page later on, you'll see it has evolved.
Yeah.
It started with me just sharing scriptures, and then it evolved. And now the only thing I do is lives, where I invite pastors, I invite other young people like me who are in Christ, who've gone through challenges, and they share their journey with God. Good, pretty, ugly, however it looks like, they come and share. But also from the Bible study, we have a Bible. From the Instagram page, the Lord led me to start a Bible study. So if you're a young person, you need guidance, you need a community, the community I was talking to, just reach out to me on IG and I can put you in the Bible study and we can walk together. If you're there and you want to grow in the Word and pray, if you want someone to hold your hand, reach out to me. I also have created Bible study materials, a Bible study guide to pray the Word, to study the Word, to pray the Word, and to live a life of gratitude in one. And actually right now they're on sale because in our church we're having Missions Month. So right now they're 400 shillings. So anybody who really feels like they're in that part of their lives where they want to pick back the Bible and they don't know where to start, it's very easy, it's guided for you. So those are kind of the things that you will find. So my handle on Instagram is Mamre Ministry. For the journals, it is Mamre Journals, KE. I'm sure you can link it.
Yeah, definitely.
In the
Just
description.
put it down so that if you need to reach her out, if you need to find out what she does, you can just go to her social media pages and find out. If you want to reach out to her, she's very easy to reach out to. Just go. It is all for you guys. We are here to inspire you, to educate you, and of course to entertain you with good stuff. So what do you think about these? Let us know down on the comment section. Have you been in such situations? Where are you? Are you in line with God? Are you in, like, let me just know down on the comment section. Nini hizo umepitia? Have you been a Christian? Umeanguka and you think that you cannot go back? Here, she's a testimony to it. She's a testimony that, you know what, it is indeed difficult, but when you believe in God, you will always be picked up. Na unaendelea, right? But msisahau kuanguka lazima uumie. Na ukiumia, ni vizuri tu jichukue. You just stand up, bounce back, and walk your path. So guys, I really appreciate. Thank you so much, Kate. Her name is Kate Manning, as lovely as she looks. And if you want her back on the channel, let me know again down on the comment section. So guys, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure that you subscribe, comment, share, and like. Make sure you also press that notification bell so that anytime we place a new video, you will be among our loyal fans, the first loyal fans to watch our videos. So guys, thank you so much, and as always, thank you so much, and I love you. Mwah. Bye.